I'm Caitlin E, and welcome to the Lit Review. Today we're filming everybody's favorite, LitLand. Hello Ringlight, my nemesis and best friend in filming. So if this is your first time seeing me and LitLand, then this is my TBR game where I pick what I'm going to read for the month based on what color square takes me across the board in LitLand. This game was originally loosely based on Candyland, but it's evolved a lot since then with its own set of rules and regulations. But the gist of it is that I pull 4 cards every month. Every color square is associated with a different genre that I like to read, and that's how I kind of help pick my books. I will link my whole LitLand playlist if you want to go way back to the beginning. I've been doing this for about 2 years, but the game has evolved a lot since then. I'll link that up above and down below. Down below in the description box, you can also find the most current rules of LitLand so that you know what we've been up to or what rules currently apply based on today's game. What I'll do really quick is run you through what's going on with me this September, as well as do a quick run back of any books I finished or didn't finish from last month and if that affects today's gameplay. So last month we had 5 books proper for LitLand and then one of our troll cards, and the troll card is new from last month. So I'll be doing that again for September, where we will pull a troll bridge pick at the end as a way for us to kind of do something together with LitLand. A lot of you left me in the comments for August what you were gonna read for your troll bridge pick, and the prompt was to pick a book based on a magic card, which my partner Jeremy so graciously supplied to me, and he gave us Death Pact Angel. And I did read our troll bridge pick for the month. I ended up going with Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh. In theory, I could use a troll bridge book, if I succeeded at it, to protect myself from taking too many punishments. But since I kind of started LitLand last month, and I do have a rollover policy, there's no punishments for me to save myself from. And then of the 5 books, and of course I didn't prep this properly and bring them in here, of the 5 books, I have successfully read 3 of them and am halfway through a 4th. So I'm gonna have 2 books roll over. But I did finish The Con Artist by Fred Van Lent. I did finish The Lovely War by Julie Berry. I did finish The Princess Stakes by Amelie Howard. The one that I have not started at all is The Beautiful Ones by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, but I have confidence that I can get that done because it is a smaller book. And then the one that I'm not quite halfway through, I'm maybe a third of the way through, Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, and I think I can get that done in September. At the very least, I'm gonna have to get that one done in September, or else I'm going to be in trouble with a punishment. So I'm gonna need to add two slots onto my TBR this month, which is a little scary. Let's hope LitLand is kind, you know? That's all we can do. There are 2 year-long readathons or book clubs that I try to participate in, one of which is mine, the Book Covered Book Club. I'm a very lackadaisical host to it. I kind of just created the prompts and then left everybody to their own devices, and that's okay. But for August, our theme is a map. So some type of map or a globe or something of that on the cover. So the Book Covered Book Club is based on the visuals of the cover. And then the Buzzwordathon, which is kind of in a very similar vein, created and then sent out into the world by Kayla from Books and Lala, is the August theme for that one, I believe, is items or objects. So not necessarily the word item or object itself, although I'm sure that could work, but literally just an item or an object. So I'm hoping we can make that work somehow. We'll see. All right, but that's what I know for now. Let's get into the actual board footage. So pick number 1 for September.
Quick rundown of the game board. Here is our deck of cards we're pulling from. Here is the used cards. Porcine Perfection mascot over here, right on this green square. We have the green cards that are for stuck squares or for challenges, which thankfully I don't have to take any of those this month. We have the pink cards, which are for these pink squares here, and are our challenge squares. We'll be pulling at least one of these today for our monthly troll pick together, but in the game, you need to pull a troll bridge card to cross a bridge or if you land on a rainbow square like the one right there. Just for posterity, this was last month's pull, and now those can safely go here. Oh, all right. Green times 2. Boop. Boop.
Oh, okay. Green times 2. Green is my color square for historicals. And last month I had another green times 2 and I kind of like struggled with it a little bit. But we'll see. So two historical books. As many of you know, even though you can't really see a ton of it, I have a row of books all along this desk here. That is my priority shelf. I will try to pull at least 1 or 2 books from the priority shelf. What lives on there are things from my I Wish I Had Read in 2021, gifts from any of you lovely subscribers, and then like book box picks so that I can try to prioritize things of that nature. So let me see what I've got for historical so I can at least take one off the list. Okay, I did have several historicals, but I think I'm only going to pick one from the priority shelf because there was only one that was really grabbing me for this month, and that was The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. So this is a like Trojan War or Homeric retelling. So it seems like our primary character is going to be Briseis. And Briseis is I believe, like princess who gets captured by the Greeks in the course of their war on Troy, and becomes kind of I want to say like pawn between Achilles and Agamemnon. Her perspective is interesting. I've actually read a couple of Trojan War stories from Briseis' perspective, but there are other female perspectives in this novel as well, I believe. So I'm always down for this. Like, I generally like to read versions of this for the Trojan War for any kind of global mythology or folklore. So this grabbed me. This sounded interesting. So happy to make this our first historical pick for September. That still leaves us with another historical. So let me go into this shelf back here and my shelves off to the left and see what else I can find. Ooh, okay. This one I have had for a while, and I've never read anything by this author, but I've always wanted to. So, you know, seems like a good time. And that's Mr. Fox by Helen Oyemi. So I think this is probably one of Helen Oyemi's like lesser known novels, or at least I don't hear people talk about this. You probably have heard of her other book, Gingerbread. But she's known, I think, for like kind of interesting, surreal stories that have kind of fairy tale like qualities. And she doesn't always write historicals necessarily, but this one is set in 1938. And we have a main character named Mary Fox, who is the muse of St. John Fox, who is a celebrated novelist. So Mary, the muse, comes to visit St. John to offer him a challenge. She's been missing from his life for 6 years, but she's here to challenge him to stop murdering her heroines and explore something like love. And the premise is really interesting, and it's set in the 30s, so definitely a historical. Okay, pull number 2.
All right, red times 2. Boop. Boop.
Okay, I'm starting to feel conflicted because on one hand, you'll love to see a red times 2. You'll love to see 2 romances. If you're me, it's my favorite genre. 2 romance picks is good news for me. But also, we're already at 4 books. I'm scared. So once again, we're gonna see what the priority shelf holds. Okay, so for my first romance pick, I'm gonna choose Bet on It by Jodie Slaughter. This is a book box pick for me. I believe this was July's Read Romance Repeat box pick, or one of the 2 in that box. And it's been on my radar for a long time, so I'm very excited to get to this. It is a contemporary romance that revolves around bingo, and the back cover involves one of my favorite phrases of all time, which is a bingo-based sex pact. If that doesn't sell you on wanting to read Bet on It, I'm not sure what else I can say at will. Our main character's name is Aja. She is a regular bingo attendee. It sounds like from the back cover that we're also going to get some anxiety rep with Aja, which is awesome. And one of her bingo besties is this adorable little old lady who just so happens to be her love interest grandma. So Walker Abbott is his name, and he comes back into town to help his grandmother with some things regarding her health, and ends up escorting her to her bingo nights. And that's where Walker and Aja meet, and that's how we get into a bingo-based sex pact, which I would love to know the particulars about, hence why I would like to read this book. All right, so for my second romance pick, I don't have this book in this room, and I'm not going to go get it, but I'll put the cover up. I have another outstanding video concept that I want to keep rolling with, and that is my romancing the tarot concept. So I did the second card pull for that, and I'll link that video up above if you're interested, but I'm going to pick one of the books from that so I can keep the momentum going. And I know that we're not quite full on into spooky season yet, but I'm feeling the paranormal fantasy vibes, so that made my choice very, very easy. And I'm going to be adding Better Off Red by Rebecca Weatherspoon to my TBR. It is a sapphic vampire love story, and it's set in a college. The sorority, the main character joins the sorority that serves vampires, and she ends up becoming the blood donor / love interest of the vampire queen. Sounds freaking fantastic. It'll slide right in to spooky season, and I will probably be doing a lot more paranormal and urban fantasy reads in October, but for now it's just going to whet my appetite and help me get there, and it'll move forward a video concept, so that's all good. Whew. All right, pull number 3.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. All right. Okay. That takes us all the way back here. So, boo.
I'd like to take a moment of silence for our hopes and dreams in LitLand. It's too bold. I asked it for kindness, and it's chosen chaos instead. We're going back. We're going back to young adult, which I'll admit could have been worse, but it wasn't great. Okay, so and if I can find something that fits with young adult, that's what I'll do. Most of them should work for this genre. Actually, this is a pretty inspiring prompt, all things considered, and that is seasonal pick. Which I think you could take this, or I can take this prompt in a couple of different directions since it's September, kind of the start of fall. I could take it in a back to school season. I could take it in start of fall or autumn proper here in the States. Something that is set in the fall or that feels appropriate for fall. If I wanted to be really weird, I could say it's almost pumpkin spice season and find something with pumpkin. So I have a lot of options. Ooh, okay. Actually, wait, is that in this room? Yes, it is. This is great. So it will hit the note of school. It will hit the seasonal pick overall for feeling kind of fall vibes. These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling. I believe this is a series, but this is the first book in the series. It's been on my TBR for a couple of years at this point, and I think I've always been trying to save it for a readathon or something like that, but I kind of just need to give that up and go for it, and this is my moment. Our main character, Hannah, is an elemental witch living in Salem, Massachusetts. She's got an ex-girlfriend named Veronica, who is also a witch, but Hannah's main thing is just to keep her head down, keep going with school, sell crystals and candles at the local shop, keep her cover going so that nobody realizes that there are actually still witches in Salem. But then there's some striking evidence of dark magic that she has to deal with. In particular, Hannah is convinced that this is the work of a blood witch, but her coven is not so convinced. So Hannah is trying to prove it with the help of her ex Veronica, as more and more witches in the area are being harmed. So it's kind of got a little bit of suspense and mystery, which I think would also be appropriate for a seasonal pick, because I associate that with fall reads as being like the ideal time for that. So I think this works on a lot of different levels. And while I'm not happy that we got sent back when we were so close to the end, I am excited to read this book, so it's not your fault. All right, our last pull number 4. What? Okay. Okay, blue times 2. Boop. Boop.
It's with the saddest of boops that we end September's LitLand.
Another times 2, this time blue times 2, and blue is my square for nonfiction. That's a lot of nonfiction. Okay, you know what, we're just gonna try our best. I could sulk here, but that seems like a waste of all of our time. So I know I have a nonfiction out from NetGalley. I have been kind of lackadaisical about following up with this particular pick, so now's as good a time as any. I can't think of the full title off the top of my head, so I apologize, but I will add the picture here. I remember, though, that it is a nonfiction about, like, culturally, like, why are we interested in murder, essentially. I need to drastically improve my NetGalley scores. Since I'm pretty sporadic about asking for books and following through, like, I do need to be better about that if I would like to keep using the platform responsibly. So I'm overdue on this book, but I'd still like to follow through with it. So I will finally be doing that. But I'm gonna look for another nonfiction that feels kind of like light. After much debate about what my last pick should be, I think I've landed on a good one, and that is Stanley Tucci's Taste, My Life Through Food. So it feels like a slimmer volume in terms of a memoir, and it's really focused on his journey with food, specifically. So Stanley Tucci, very famous actor, he's really kind of come into a whole like food persona alongside his really amazing acting career. As an actor, you probably would recognize him from, oh gosh, so many roles, but the 2 that immediately come to mind involve Meryl Streep, and that's The Devil Wears Prada, and then Julie and Julia. And I believe this book covers some of Julie and Julia. It says that Taste is a reflection on the intersection of food and life, filled with anecdotes about growing up in Westchester, New York, preparing for and shooting the foodie films Big Night, which I have not seen, and Julie and Julia, which I have. This also covers like falling in love over dinner, teaming up with his wife to create meals for a multitude of children. So this has recipes in it as well, which is part of why I picked it, because I think that would be like a fun, lighthearted thing to do with my nonfiction pick. It'd be nice to, make a couple drinks after all these books I've got to read. So Taste is our last official book pick for LitLand. Here's the thing, this stack is actually kind of deceptive because it is missing several books. So it is missing my ebook of the book about murder that I will put a picture of over here. It is also missing Better Off Read by Rebecca Weatherspoon. So we have a total of 7 books to accomplish in September's version of LitLand, plus my 2 rollover books from August. So, that's just a total of 9 things that I should read in a month where I literally told you I don't know how well that's going to work out for me. And I haven't even got to the monthly troll pick, which I think, given all of this, is going to be pretty necessary for me. These are the troll bridge cards. I'm just going to pull one from the top and talk through whatever the prompt is. And like last month, you're no pressure to participate in this. It's just a fun thing for us to do together. And if I get it done, I could protect myself from a punishment. Not all punishment, but at least one. So sounds like I might need that. All right. Oh, okay, this is fairly straightforward. And this is actually great for all of us mood readers out there, myself included. This says last thing you watched. So basically pick a book based on the last piece of media that you've consumed. So if you want to get really technical, this video counts for all of you if you wanted to read something that you just watched. There's a couple of ways I could do this personally. The last thing I watched was Junior Bake Off on Netflix. I could read a middle grade, I could read something that features baking. And if I go down that route, I actually already have a book in mind, even though I don't already own it. I've always wanted to read this book. It's been on my radar for a while, and it's The Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. And I think it's by T.L. Kingfisher. If not, I'll put the proper name up on the screen. But so I might just go for that. But I also reserve the right to hold this for later in the month when I've watched something that really inspires me. Let me know what, if anything, you'll be reading for our monthly troll pick together. So again, you could buddy read with me one of the 9 books I'm trying to read this month. Or I guess 10. 10! It's a 10, but it's a TBR from hell. Whew. Okay. LitLand had some things to say, not all of them kind. Thanks for hanging out. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!